But they're not children, Margie. Children are not capable of the type of corruption that I saw.
Well, Margaret, if it was really that bad what you saw, then you'd better not speak of it.
And to think that Linda's little Rose would turn out that way. Well, you'd never know to look at her.
Well, I wouldn't have thought of Rose as a really bad girl.
Well, she's ill, that's what I think. Sick.
Well, isn't that charitable of you? Using ill instead of evil.
Peggy.
So what exactly did you see, Margaret? That was so awful.
Blatant immorality such that I witnessed is not pleasant to relate, especially twice. First to Linda and then the high priest. Well, I don't even know if I'll be able to talk about it on the witness stand.
We'll hear about it soon enough. It isn't our place to judge. It's the high priest's.
But perhaps Margaret ought to tell us, as a rehearsal for the church hearing tomorrow. It might be helpful to her.
Well, only if you're sure you can stand it. I don't want to put you through the hearing twice just for my sake. It was late Thursday night. I was just coming home from watching Meg's Children for the night, and I was cutting through the apple orchard when I heard a man's chuckle, followed by a murmur. Well, I put my lantern out, and there they were. I saw them.
Bethel Valley was a good place to live. The residents worked hard and mostly kept to themselves. And if any of them needed help, they would all pitch in without question or thought. The community also had its own strict rules, and deviance of any kind was severely discouraged. So if sometimes someone looked over the fence and experienced a moment of temptation, he soon learned to suppress these feelings and find contentment where he belonged, at home, with his family. The high priest was the moral and spiritual leader of the community and the utmost authority. All serious problems in Bethel Valley eventually came to her. But because she never knew who she'd be called upon to judge, she led alone. But even an isolated community, under good leadership, can experience something so shocking it threatens their very way of life. And this is what happened when two members broke the community's most valued rules and entered the uncharted regions beyond.
I didn't want to believe what she said. But looking at you now,
Mama, please.
I'm sure she was right. Haven't we taught you better than that? Didn't we teach you to be a proper member of the community and not a sinner?
You did.
Then why? You'll have to have an answer for the high priest. Can't you tell me anything?
I don't know what came over me. But it was as if my world was switched around. And we were right. Ben and I, we were right. The rest of the world was wrong. And that's only how I felt then. I know better now. Mama, I'll never do it again. Please believe me.
I just can't help feeling that Rose is really the one to blame here. I mean, she's older, persuasive, and she's always been very strong-minded.
I don't think we need to be assigning blame.
But the high priest should know that Rose can have a very
I'm
strong...
not even sure if Margaret should have gone to the high priest. I'm not sure if anything happened, and if nothing did, then the youngsters are going to be all right in the end.
But the things she's saying around town about him...
You know Margaret. This is just another one of her tales.
I just can't believe Ben would have done anything like this. We raised him better than that.
You're right. Ben came from a good family and community. He knows what's right for himself.
I just don't want people believing... Maybe you're right.
I understand your concern, Mr. Palmer. And I understand, too, how painful it must be for you to have a child accused of such an unnatural crime. But when there is such good reason to suspect that something wrong did happen, I can't excuse one of the parties involved. Even if Rose was the instigator, your son was involved.
Please. I have served this church. I have supported you in every decision, in every dispute. Even the roof of your home would not have been fixed if I hadn't brought the men together.
My position in this community is the result of nothing but God's will.
You can only do the will of God in this community if the community is willing.
Are you implying that your friends and neighbors would leave the church at the least suggestion? I think better of my congregation than that, Mr. Palmer.
They listen to me.
And I'm sure they'll continue to listen to you as long as you continue to speak for what is right and good.
My neighbors understand family. And you had better remember that in your decision. A man will do just about anything for his son.
I feel sorry for you, Mr. Palmer. Truly, I do. And I will do what I can to exercise mercy in this case.
You will?
I will do what I can, Mr. Palmer. But in the end, there is a higher law I must serve here. And I'm sure you understand that.
Jane. Jane. Is Rose all right?
Yes?
Listen, I need to talk to her. Did you hear what I said?
I heard you. I just thought you'd realize it's not such a good idea.
I know I can't actually see her, but I just wanted you to take her a note for me. The trial's coming soon, and I want to talk to her before it starts.
Why?
So that we can get through this all right.
No, I think you've caused enough trouble.
Please listen. You're close to Rose. You know what could happen to her if the community doesn't understand us. Maybe we can make them see that this isn't repulsive. She told me she told you. She said you understood.
I understand what she said to me. She said she wished she hadn't done it.
Rose said that?
She did. How could she not? It's wrong. It's perverted.
It's not any
Yes, it is.
I used to think that way too. I was taught the same things you were. But we have something else. Something they didn't tell us about.
I can't believe I'm listening to this.
Please. Rose needs to get this. Please take it. If not for me, do it for Rose.
The best thing I can do for Rose is not take her that note. You really don't get it, do you? You're gonna be just fine. Your father's an important man. Why do you want to drag Rose down any farther than you already have?
This has nothing to do with my father. And I'm not trying to drag Rose down. I would never want to hurt her.
Well, you do. You got her into this perversion, and now you're trying to make her pay for it. You are so selfish.
I told you. I want us to get through this together. Please.
I am not taking anything from you to her. Why can't you just leave us alone?
Because I love her.
It's not about love. There is nothing beautiful about this lustful fascination you have. This hollow pleasure which you ravish.
What do you know about it? I don't think you even know what love is.
I know more about love than you ever will.
Jane!
No!
Hello, friends and neighbors. You're all aware of the reason we are here today. We are gathered here to pass judgment in the matter of two young people who are accused of flouting one of God's strictest commands. I'm sure you're all aware of the grave nature of this situation. Not only is the moral standing of our community in jeopardy, but the very souls of these young people are in danger of absolute corruption. Let us pray. Lord,
I feel sick.
look down on our trial today and
Me
show
too.
us your mercy. Let our community oust from its bosom the worm that eats the rose.
What are
the
you afraid of?
corruption that threatens
It's not
our
like we're
life.
going to do anything if we're allowed to sit next to each other in church.
Help us, O Lord, to
respect.
see the light and the way. Amen. Our first witness is Margaret Edison. Now, Margaret, can you tell us what you saw last Thursday night?
Well, it's very difficult to recount it. It was such a shock. And I'm not fully recovered, you know. It's going to be very hard for everyone to hear, but it's much different to actually be a witness. But I guess it is my duty. Last Thursday night, I was passing through Peterson's apple orchard when I heard these noises like two people were in the barn. Well, I thought it must be people up to no good, but of course it never crossed my mind that, well, I saw them there in the barn, lying in the hay, kissing and embracing it as if they had every right. Well, it was disgusting. But they were naked. Naked as the day they were born.
That isn't what happened.
How dare you malign my character this way, you pathetic little...
Rose is telling the truth. We were in the barn, but we were just sitting and talking. We weren't naked.
Everyone, be silent. For everything to proceed in an orderly fashion, I cannot tolerate interruptions. Is that understood? However, your objections have been noted and will be taken into consideration. Margaret, do you have anything further to add? Thank you for testifying today, Margaret. You may take your seat now. Our next witness is Andrew McDonald.
Ben's always been a really arrogant person, I mean.
I have done my best to teach Rose well.
Rose is a wonderful girl. Her and Jane have been friends most of their lives.
Jane Smith said she saw them holding hands, but I don't know. Who do you believe? Ben was always such a good boy, a friend of mine.
I've seen Rose all over, sneaking around. I won't say he's not persuadable, but he's good at heart.
Something about Rose. Rose is the girl who's mixed up in the scandal here. And
I don't really know Ben, but I really don't believe that Rose would ever do such a horrible thing.
promiscuous little harlot. She doesn't care a damn about anyone or anything except herself. She sickens me.
I don't think that the court has any real evidence that what Margaret said happened.
They were whispering, so I think that it was something bad, but I didn't really understand what was going on.
And I think that she deserves to remain a member of this community.
He would never have been involved in something like this.
Our final witness today is Jane Smith. Jane Smith? Jane, you've been good friends with Rose for several years now. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Her mother is under the impression that Rose has been spending a great deal of time with you lately. In fact, Linda said that Rose has been spending as many as 4 nights a week at your house. Is that true?
That's right, she was.
Do I need to get your parents up here and ask them whether Rose was actually at your house? I didn't think so. Where was she when Linda thought she was with you?
Sometimes she was with me. She'd sneak into my house. My parents wouldn't have known she was there. Sometimes when 2 girls need to talk about things, a lot of times they want privacy.
You said sometimes.
Well, I don't know if I can account for every time Linda thought Rose was with me.
Jane, you're an intelligent young woman, and you've already told me that you and Rose talked a great deal. I'm sure you're in a very good position to tell me the exact nature of the relationship between Rose and Ben Palm. Did you ever see anything that made you think they were something more than friends? That they were in fact physically involved? Take care with your answer, Jane. Make certain it's an honest one.
I wish you hadn't told me. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have. I just wanted to be honest with you. You know, I trust you more than anyone. Besides, you must have suspected something.
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't want to believe that about you.
Jane. Jane, look at me. I didn't go looking for these feelings, okay? I know they're unnatural. I know they're wrong. I know I'm wrong. I just don't know what to do anymore. Come on, I really need you on my side right now.
I'm sure these feelings will go away eventually.
You think so? I hope you're right. You won't tell anyone, will you?
No. Yes. Yes, they were physically involved. Rose told me.
Thank you. You may go. You've all heard the evidence against Ben and Rose. Put together, I feel that it is more than enough.
Rose Thomas, this is all your fault! Why, Ben would never have had ideas like this if you had not seduced him.
No, Bob! You've always been too
Mr.
soft.
Palmer, enough!
Don't tell me how to raise my son!
Sit down! The young people are at fault now, no matter what problems may or may not have occurred during their upbringing. You've heard the evidence against you. Before I decide what should happen to you, I'd like to hear what you have to say in your own defense. Ben, you first.
I'm sorry to have caused my parents so much distress. I never meant to disappoint anyone. But I do love Rose. And I don't think any amount of yelling or praying can change that.
Rose, what do you have to say?
I'm also sorry to disappoint my family. I know that I do love Ben. And I don't think anything as beautiful as what we have together could be created by anyone other than God. That's all.
There are some things that God never meant for us to do. I never thought to see such moral corruption in those so young. I sentence you both to 1 year of purification. For 1 year, no one in this community will speak to you or even acknowledge your existence, except for select members of the clergy, which will see that you spend your days in hard work and prayer. This will not be easy, but it will heal your souls if they are not too far corrupted. When the year is up, you must publicly renounce your evil. If you refuse to do so, if you still refuse to see what you have done, it may fall upon me to impose a stricter penalty. Pray that your souls be cleansed, and that it will not come to that. Take them away.
Come with me.
I don't believe it. He was always such a good boy.
I know. We just have to hope he's going to come back all right. Listen, I'm sorry I yelled at you back there. I shouldn't have lost my temper like that. He's just as much my son as yours.
Thank you. I just can't believe she saw them kissing.
Don't think about it. Everything's going to be all right.
I hope so. Let's just go home.
Two young people punished for the crime of love by their well-meaning elders. It's an old story, but to Ben and Rose, that terrible young couple in Bethel Valley, it was a new story. Just as it is to everyone who loves where love is forbidden.